All right, everyone. Okay, so good evening. Just to be sure you guys can hear me, please drop a message in the chat. Um, yeah, so welcome. Yeah, go ahead, drop a message in the chat while we're waiting for just about a minute to start the session. Okay, so I can see your messages and I believe you can hear me. How about my screen? Is it very visible on your end? All right, so good evening, welcome. Let me know if you can see my screen very well, okay? Let me zoom in a bit. Okay. Awesome. All right, so it's Monday again. I hope you guys actually practiced from the from what we covered in the previous class. Bad network blurry. Okay. If you're joining from Twitch and you're having network issues, maybe you can try YouTube, right? If you're watching from LinkedIn and you also have a bit of a network challenge, maybe you can also switch to YouTube. I think YouTube gives you the option to select the quality, of course, based on your network, right? So yeah, if it's blurry on your end, it's probably a network thing. Okay. I think others can actually see my screen very well. All right. So you have actually, covered some of the basics. Let me turn this off. Give me a minute. Okay. Turned off. All right. So I'll be looking at the chat. If you have questions while I'm teaching, please feel free to ask your questions in the chat. What we are going to be doing is, we're simply going to cover some of the things from text formatting, working with headings, right? And of course, creating lists, ordered lists and unordered lists. Okay. We're also going to work with, you know, link elements, right? Using the A tag. Of course, we've already covered some of these things before, but this is simply going to be more like a refresher, right? And we're going to be doing something, a little bit of, I would say, practical. Okay. Yeah. So if you have any questions while I'm using some of these tags, feel free to ask your questions in the chat. and I will, do well to respond to them. All right, are we good? Okay. All right, so what you're seeing on my screen, what I'm currently sharing, this is my VS Code interface. Of course, you remember we installed VS Code. This is what we use for, coding, of course, writing HTML code. Okay, we have a lot of text editors, but this is what we use for the purpose of this training. And I believe most of us have already installed this on our laptops. Okay, so if you're using your laptop, your desktop computer, just make sure you have this installed. All right, and in order to bring out this boilerplate, what I usually do is I use the shortcut Shift and the number one key, which is exclamation. Okay, so when you put in this when you press this shortcut, right, which is Shift. Let me take that down. So Shift plus this. Okay, so let me zoom in. If you can't see this very well, like this. Okay, so this is basically what I use. All right. And of course, I believe it will work for you as well. If you're on VS Code, just do that and you can actually, bring up this boilerplate that you see on my screen. Okay. So now that I have this boilerplate, we have the regular HTML tag, the head tag, and of course the body. This is where we put in most of the, content that we will be using today. All right. So let's go ahead and, first change the title here to say my simple website. All right. So remember, when you are about to save, you can always press Control S, right, or Command S if you're using a MacBook, or you can simply click on the File menu and click on the Save, option there. Okay. These are the current, this is the current folder structure I have. I have created the index.html file already, and I have this folder opened up on my VS Code, application. All right. So let's try something out. I'm going to say Mav. Okay, so let's save this. And I am simply going to run this. So just give me a minute. I will show you how to do this as well. All right, so marvelous. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I did this. I want you to click on the item you see on my screen, the extension option here. Okay, when you click on this, I want you to search for live server. All right, so I can just type this in again, live server. So you hit your enter key. All right. So I simply want you to, install this option. This is, let's close it first. So this is live server preview. Okay. Live server preview. So live server preview. Let's see to make sure you can see this very well. I'm going to search again. I think this is it. Okay. No, this one. Right. Okay, so this is live server preview. This is what you're going to see when you search, right? Click on this option, live server preview. So with this, you can at least preview the HTML file, within your VS Code environment, okay? So it will just be side by side. That makes sense so that you can see the changes you make, on the fly. All right, so click on this and click on install. I already have this installed on my VS Code environment. So basically, you see it says disable and uninstall because I've already installed this. Okay, so you can just close this after installing, and of course, you can click on this option, which is the Explorer, to go back to the Explorer section, right, where you can see your file and the folders. Okay, so if you have your boilerplate code, right, you can simply use the shortcut Control Shift P, right? Or Command Shift P. So Control on your keyboard plus Shift plus P, all right? So let me zoom in on this as well. So this is exactly the shortcut you're going to use, right? So hold these keys down, Control, Shift, and P. Okay, so when you do that, it's going to bring up this simple search item, right? So you can simply search for live. Okay, when you search for live, you just have to select show live server preview. Okay, and this would simply open up, just by the side. So you can simply preview. You can make some changes. So I can say we are building a simple HTML. Let's drop this a little bit. Okay, website. So once I save with the Control S command, you see this is changed automatically. Okay, so this makes sense. Let me check the chat to see if you have any questions on how I did this before we proceed. All right, let's see. Okay, so someone is saying it isn't really visible. I think it's your network, although it is recorded, and yeah, you can watch this afterwards. Okay. Someone said I was having challenge connecting my HTML to my Google Chrome browser. Okay, so basically what you do is you can just double click on the file, right? You can double click on the file, and that would open up on your default browser. If Chrome is not your default browser, then you have to first set Chrome to to become your default browser. Most times you might have maybe Safari or Edge, Microsoft Edge, configured as the default browser. So you have to change that first. Okay, or you can open Chrome, then simply drag the file into Chrome. All right, that would load up the file. Let's see. Okay, so I don't think we have any other question for now. Yeah, so we can proceed. Okay, so just to do a quick refresher, the other time we actually covered some tags, the heading tags. I'm going to take them again. So I have, let's start off with heading 1, right? Okay, so heading 2. So heading 3. All right, so this is heading 3. That should be 3, not 23. So we have heading 4. Let's do heading 5 and heading 6. Okay, so heading 5, heading 6. All right, so 5 and 6. Okay, so if I save this, you see we have these headings arranged, accordingly. So we have heading 1, which happens to be the biggest option, right? And I said you can actually customize this using your style. By the time we get to CSS, you would see you can basically, change the entire size, right? You can even make heading 1 way smaller than heading 6 if that's what you want to do. But it's, a good idea to keep up with this, pattern, at least when you have developers look into your existing code base. It makes sense that heading 1 happens to be bigger than heading 6, right, instead of having it the other way around. Okay, so while you can configure this, while you can style this using CSS to make it look way different, it is better to just keep up with the standards. Okay, heading 1 can be big, heading 2 should be smaller than heading 1, right? Just try to keep up with that to avoid confusing other developers when they look through your code base. Okay, yeah, so we have the p tag, of course. So this is a paragraph, right? We have the a tag, which is the anchor tag. Okay, and when you use the a tag, you have to also use the hyperlink reference, which is href. And this is simply how you can put in the link. Okay, so for example, I can have maybe let's put in my website, or let's put in the Top Universe website. Okay, and right in here you can put you can say visit Top Universe. Okay, so we can say visit, or I can simply say click here. Maybe, yeah, click here, and I can write the remaining text outside. So I can have a p tag, as a nested tag. So I can simply say to visit Top Universe website. All right, so let's close that tag. So you see what we have here. Let us bring this down a bit. So yeah, this is fine. So we have the p tag, we have the a tag. We say click here, right? So click here is going to be that anchor tag. So if I save, you see we only have click here, right? And to visit Top Universe website is not part of the anchor tag, but it is part of the p tag, right? Okay, so which means if we click on this, the expectation is that this should, the website, the Top Universe website. Um, yeah, I mean, we don't necessarily want to do this. So let me just, load this up again. All right. So we don't want to, switch to different pages. There's no point, doing that. But you can also choose to, open this up, maybe in a different browser or something. All right, so this is basically, your anchor tag, and the anchor tag can be wrapped around, so many tags, right? If not all the tags, but let's see. Yeah, it can be used around so many tags. It makes sense, to use it around so many tags that work within the body, tag. Okay, you don't want to put your anchor tag around the head. Okay, so you just want to make sure you're keeping it with, the body. Okay, so let's say we have a simple profile here. So I'm going to come up with, yeah, I would say user profile. All right. And I'm going to have H3, which would, contain, let's say, the name of this, user with the I tag, because I simply want to have this on italics, right? And then the name can be Marvelous Solomon. So let's save this. So now you see we have user profile name Marvelous Solomon. Let's put in maybe the job description or role. So I can simply say instructor, right? And if I save this, you see we have instructor. Let's just say code instructor. All right, so I can also probably use the p tag this time around. Okay, and I can simply say, let's say bio. All right, so I can also have the, the I tag here. All right, and in here I can simply say I am a motivated software developer. Okay, so just for fun, uh, I don't like Shege. Okay, so yeah, so I'm a motivated software developer. So if I save this, you see, even though we actually used multiple lines for this, it still happens to be in a single line, right? So if we want to break this, I mean, one thing you could do is to use, multiple paragraph tags. So I can simply paste this right here, okay, and then I can use a different paragraph tag. So if I say, you see, we have this in multiple lines. Um, yeah, or I can simply leave this in the previous tag, and I can choose to use the break, right? So this was break it the next line. Okay. Depending on what you're trying to do, I mean, this would basically be used based on your specific needs, right? But I think it's a good idea that you know when to use it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if we choose to also add more details, then we can simply say maybe more, let's just say about, or I can say more info. All right, so this is the point where I can also use the I tag, of course. All right. Okay, so basically what I do is, I use Control X to cut, okay? All right, Control X to cut so that I can move this item away from the previous location. All right, so so I simply cut and I paste here. All right, I can simply choose to cut this option and it's, yeah, I paste here. Okay, so let's just say more info. I'm going to use EM, which is emphasis, or I can use strong. Remember, I can also use the B tag, which is bold, okay? So I'm simply going to say I enjoy coding, cooking, and what? Hmm. Let's say who in the audience know me very well? Okay, so I enjoy coding, cooking. If you can guess something I enjoy doing, I would actually include that. But for now, coding and cooking, that's fine. All right, so I'm going to check the chat to see if you have any questions. Let me see. Okay, so let me walk through. Do we have any questions? Nope, I don't think we have any questions. How about sleeping? Okay, that's an interesting one. I mean, if you're not coding or cooking, then I guess the best thing to do, I mean, sleeping. All right. So, Okay, so let's assume we decide to, put a picture, okay, of the profile. So I'm going to simply use the image tag, all right? And remember, we use SRC, which stands for source, right? So we're trying to bring in the source of this, image. And what I'm going to do is, I have some images here, though, right? You see, I have some images here, but I'm going to bring in a different image, which would simply be my profile image. Okay, so I'm going to say profile under the image folder. Okay, and then I am going to paste in, um, I'm going to simply copy and paste my image into this folder. So I'm going to do that off the screen. I mean, you won't be able to see me do that specifically, right? Because I only shared VS Code. Okay, so let me review this in Finder, which of course on your end is going to show like Finding Explorer or something. Okay, I'm currently using a Mac, so it shows as revealing Finder if you're using a Mac. Okay, so let me go to pictures, people. Okay, marvelous. All right, so let's grab one of my profiles from here. I mean this. Okay. All right, so straight into that specific folder, I'm going to paste. All right. So if we check inside this folder, you see I have new avatar. So that is exactly what I pasted in. I'm going to call this profile image. Okay, so what I did was I renamed that picture. The moment I rename the picture, you see it changes in here. I can also choose to rename this image from here. So let's go to rename, and I will say, yeah, let's just call this avatar. Okay. All right. So we can collapse this for now. And right in here, I'm going to simply locate the assets folder, images, right? I'm going to locate profile, and I would also locate avatar. So if I paste this, you see it is actually very large, okay? So we have to adjust this a bit. Now let's simply work with some attributes such as the height and the width, okay? So for the height, we're going to set the height to be, let's say, 250. All right, so if I save this, you see it has reduced a bit. Let's drop it down again to 150. Yeah, maybe that is much better. Of course, you can choose to use the width as well if you prefer to do that. So I can simply say 250. Yeah, so I mean, you're simply adjusting the height and the width, okay? So yeah, either of them is fine. Okay, so now we have a simple user profile. We have the image, we have the name, right, with the H3 tag. Let us use the H2 tag instead. All right, so that's much bigger. And we can also use the H arrow tag. Remember, we learned that the H arrow tag is simply for horizontal rule, just like what we have here. Okay? So we have an horizontal rule separating the description of this page, from the contents. And we can also include another horizontal rule. Okay, just right at the bottom, before putting maybe like a link, some sort of link. So let's say we have a link to probably my website. Okay, and I will simply say visit my website. Okay, for more info. All right, let's wrap that in a p tag. Okay. All right, so now what you see here, it says visit my website for more info. Okay, so that makes sense. So now we've been able to build a simple, HTML web page, showing a user profile. Okay, so I hope you have learned something from here. I mean, this is very simple, very basic. Simply using HTML, no styling whatsoever. Yeah. Next, we're going to work with additional set of images, right? So I'm going to be creating a new file for that. But if you have any questions before I continue, please go ahead and ask your questions. Let us create a new file. Let's call this Africa. Okay. All right. So let me check the chat if you have any questions. Let's see. All right. So how can you center the picture in the middle of the page? Yeah, I would show you how to do that. Someone said it's not bright. I think if it's not bright, maybe it's from your device, right? Someone is saying, please, I don't understand what is going on. We're simply learning how to use HTML. If you don't understand what that is, please watch the previous videos. Someone said, and there's a difference between strong and B. Basically, I would say it's fundamentally the same thing. Okay, I would say it's fundamentally the same thing. Someone said emphatic and strong tags are useful, especially with screen readers. Yeah. Okay, okay. So people that might have vision impairment. That is correct. It's like they have the same function. Okay, I think someone was asking um, the EM and the I tag. So okay, so I want you to actually understand that these are, it's good to understand the difference in, some of these tags. We're going to provide some materials for that. We're still working on them, okay, including videos and PDF materials. I think Favor is working towards putting up those, content on on a website so that you don't need to download PDF materials. You can just visit the website and you view the materials. Okay, so let me see. If you're having network challenges, apologies. I mean, it's a general thing. It's a general thing. Okay, so I think I have answered the questions. For the person asking, you know, um, we will get to styling, right? Where you will learn a lot about styling. We'll talk about it. Okay. So emphasis on strong tags are in the HTML5 update. Yeah. So some of these tags, I mean, there's so many tags that you can actually think of when it comes to HTML. Some of these tags get deprecated over time, which means it gets to the point where it is probably no longer supported or no longer maintained, and you are advised to move on to some modern tags. Okay. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. Okay, so someone said, what about the ALT attribute? Okay, so that is basically used for attaching some additional descriptions to your image, and it makes a lot of sense to use them. All right, we're going to get to use a lot of attributes, but just to show you how you include that attribute is more like saying what is the alternative text if this image doesn't show up. So when you hover on this attribute, you see VS Code actually gives you a description. I don't know if you can see that description on my, yeah, you can see it. Okay, so VS Code gives you that description. You can always read through. So this attribute defines an alternative text for description of this image. And if this image doesn't show up or if it doesn't load, maybe due to some network issues, you can at least see this text. So I can say an image of an old man smiling. I'm not that old, so let's yeah. So I would simply say an image of a man smiling. All right. So let's see. All right. So you see, if the image doesn't load, like what I simply did now was I removed one of the texts, one of the characters from the name of this image, so it is unable to find this image. But at least we understand, the context of the image, right? What is meant to show up here. So it's a good idea to add, some of these details, especially when you have maybe someone who is visually impaired. Read through your or try to, maybe use some tools to analyze your website and understand the content of your website. This is enough to tell them, okay, so on this section we have an image of a man smiling. Um, Maybe that can assist them, if they have uh, vision problems, they can better understand the context of that image. Okay, so let's put back the A and save. So we have the image again. All right. Um, we used to have a couple of tags, right? Font tags and all that. These are old tags, and of course, we won't be talking about some of the deprecated tags. Some of those tags are no longer supported by some browsers. You would be advised to use styling instead, but we'll get to that in the future. So let us simply, yeah, let us simply talk about some tags, such as let's see the listing. Okay, so the tags for lists. So on this profile we're going to, before we talk about the working with multiple images, let us simply include some list items. right? So I'm going to talk about maybe, uh, let's start with the OL, which is ordered list, right? So I'm going to put in the list tag here, and we are simply going to have, so let's say the first item would be, let's call this H4, right? And we're going to say hobbies, all right? So we're going to move some of the items we have in more info into hobbies. Yeah, so such as coding, okay. What else? Cooking, and of course, sleeping. Okay, that makes sense. On this section, I can simply say, um, all right. So now you see we have hobbies. We have one, coding, two, cooking, and three, sleeping. Right? This is an ordered list. And of course, we have unordered list, which is simply UL, right? UL. So if you save this, it gives you bullets just like this. All right. Um, yeah. Okay. So let's work with the ordered list. So we can include more items. As a matter of fact, this is the point where we can choose to also include, skills, right? Um, so what are some of the skills I think I have, right? Let's see. Okay. So yeah, I think I'm pretty much. I think this is also one of the hobbies, but yeah, let's just leave it on the skills section. Eating. Wow, I have a knack for eating. I mean, it's my thing. I love it. Okay. What else? Hmm. Um. Well, you know what? I'm going to move teaching to the list of hobbies, and for the skills, let's just leave it at eating. Right? It is special. Let us have the unordered list here. All right, this is fine. I'm going to check the charts. If you have any questions regarding the ordered and unordered list, you can, of course, ask your questions. Let us look at the charts. What do we have? So, how then do we take attender? What? Okay, so I think, okay, someone is saying which extension is doing the preview. So I think you joined late, but I'm going to show you again. So simply click on this extension section here, right? Search for live server, okay, and install live server preview, okay. So click on this, click on install. I have this installed, which is why I can see disable and uninstall, okay. So click on install, and if you have that installed, just press Ctrl Shift P. All right, that's the shortcut, Ctrl Shift P. Then type in, live server preview. That is this option, show live server preview. Just click on this, right, and it will bring up this preview. Okay. I hope I answered your question. Um. All right. How then? Okay. How then do we take a? I don't think I understand the question you are asking. For the attendance, that will be shared with you. Yeah, I think it's a bit too early to ask for that. Is the .png after image automatically added to the image? Oh, okay. So basically, when you have images of the assets you want to use, I mean, it can be an image, it can be videos, it can be audio files. These files have extensions. Okay, so we call them file extensions. Now, the file extension for images, it can be JPG, it can be PNG, it can be WebBP. We have different formats. Okay, just make sure you're using the format that is attached to that image. So you see, for the image I had it here, I have, let's see, profile, and you see I have avatar.png. Okay. So if it's a different file format, of course, it will be different here as well. Let's try a different example. I'm going to bring in a different file format. Let's say JPG. All right. So let's go to my folder here, and I'm going to take one random image. So let's see. Um, okay, yeah, found one. I found one. Okay, so this one is quite weird. um, okay. All right. So I'm going to put in this image. So let's go back, and all right. So I just pasted one image here, and I'm going to call this random.jpg. Okay. So I just added another image here, random.jpg, right? Which is this image. And what I'm going to do is I am simply going to add a new image here. I'm not going to replace the previous one. I'm just going to add a new image tag, right? And I will simply call this random. So you see, if I say random.png, it doesn't show because that is not the right format, okay? It is JPG. I can, of course, include the ALT, which is the alternative text, right? So let's say this is an image of a man smiling, but it's not, this guy is not smiling. So it's going to simply be an image of a guy. Uh, mm, okay, an image of a guy. That's fine. All right. PNG. This is JPG, right? So if I save this, you see we have that image. All right. So and yeah, we can even add more images. Okay. So if we have an image which is maybe WebP, for example, with different format, and probably the most preferred format when you're deploying your website because of the quality and the size. Okay. I mean, when it comes to optimization, WebP is actually preferred. And there are tools you can use to convert these images from PNG to WebP, but we'll talk about those tools in the future, not in this specific class. All right, let's see if I have any image in that format on my laptop. Just give me a minute. I'm searching through my photo folder. Okay, I think I found one. All right, so I found one, and I'm going to simply copy this image. All right, so let's call this sample. Okay, so back here you see I just added another image, and this is called sample.webbp. So I am simply going to include that here. All right, sample.webbp. So now you see that image. Okay, so I hope that is clear. I hope that is clear. All right, so I think we've covered the list. On other list, you need the list item, which is the list tag. Next, we are simply going to um, I'm going to show you how to add a link to your image. So we have a sample image here. Let's say we want to make this image clickable, right? So that this image can probably open, let's say, open my website, okay? So I'm simply going to use the A tag as well. The A tag, all right? This time around, I'm going to also include Solomon Marvel.com. Okay, let us, all right. Okay, so I just added the link or the anchor tag around this image. So you can see when I hover on this image, look at my cursor. You see this image is clickable. It shows us that we can actually click on this image. Okay, this one's does not show the same type of cursor. Okay, so you see it's different here and it's different here. All right, the reason for that is because we've added the link. And we can also add an attribute to say we want to open this, this link in new page, right? Not current page, but in a new page when we click on, that particular element that the link actually wraps, okay? So I can simply say target, and of course I can include blank, underscore blank. So this is to say when I click on this, it is going to try to open this in a different page. Of course, not here, right? We're not looking at this in the browser just yet. But if you're looking at this in your browser, when you click on this, it is going to open, this link in a different page. All right. I hope that's clear. Okay, so let me check the chat if we have any other question before I move on to the next page, which is simply working with images as well. I mean, no big deal. We're simply going to work with images again, just to make sure it is clear. Okay. All right. So let me see on the chat. What else do we have here? Okay, so I think some people are asking questions and others are responding. That is amazing. I'm enjoying this. Oh, well done. Okay, so the image is blurred on my phone. I think it's a network thing. I think it's a network thing. Okay, so well done, guys. I hope you're having fun. 131 of you. I hope you're having fun. Let's move on to the next, which is simply the new page. All right, so I'll give you guys 1 minute. If you're going to create a new page alongside, myself, please go ahead and do that before I start. Okay, so just 1 minute. Drop your questions in the chat if you have any. All right, I'll be expecting to see some of them. All right, so yeah, let me see the charts. So someone said, please kindly explain the target attribute again. We're having fun. Awesome. Okay, so for the target attribute, so let's come back here. All right. So yeah. So for the target attribute, so if you use the target option as blank, so just when you hover on this is the amazing part about using VS Code. It actually gives you some explanations, to most of these tags, probably all these tags. Okay. I'm sure it is pulling these explanations from the uh, probably the Mozilla Developers Network, I assume. So what you see here is it gives you the detail of the target. So when you say blank, it means I want to open this link in a blank page. All right. Because I am not sharing my entire screen. What would happen ideally is that when you click on that image, it is going to open it up in a different you know a different screen. So I'm going to show you, right? I'm going to quickly show you so you see what happens here. What I would do is I would first, stop sharing my screen. So quick one, I'm going to share a different window, okay, which is my browser. Um, okay, all right. Okay, so now you can see my browser. I am going to pull up that specific, web page, right? So I'm simply going to let me locate that on my desktop. I think called HTML. Please, one mistake I've noticed a lot of people make is they save the files that they are working on in a location that they can't even remember, how they got there. So don't be that person. On your desktop, you can create a folder, call it, uh, web development class or HTML class, and you can always use that folder so that if you're trying to locate the file, it will be easy for you to, to remember the location. Okay. Don't create files randomly without checking, the location. All right, so I'm going to quickly. I found this. This is on my desktop. All right, and I'm simply going to open this up. I'm trying to see the new tab. Okay. All right. Okay. So just to be sure, if you can see my screen, yes, you can. Okay. So if I want to if I simply to test that, when I click on visit my website, so this actually opens on the same page, right? You see, I click on visit my website and it's actually trying to load up my website on the same page. Okay, let's just give it a minute. Okay, so this is the website loaded on the same page. All right, let's go back. All right, so but remember, we added the target to this image. So you see, when I hover on this image, let's zoom in on this page. All right. When I hover on this page, you see the cursor actually has changed. Okay. So on this image, it did not change because we did not add any anchor link. All right. So, but we also added a target to blank, which means we want this to be opened in a new page. So when I click on this, it actually opens this up in a new page, leaving the existing page or the previous page right here. Okay, so we have this opened up in a new page. I'm sure you can see that. Okay, let me verify that you can see this. Awesome, you can see it. Okay, good. Good. All right, let's close this. Let's also close this, and I'll go back to VS Code. All right, give me a minute to share VS Code. Okay, confirm if you can see this on your end. Yes, href hyperlink reference. That's the full meaning. It's an attribute of the A tag. Okay. Any other question? Let me see. Okay, so I think I'm seeing a question here. I probably missed this. So oh, okay. That's what's the difference between A and href? Okay, so href is simply an attribute of the A tag. So A means anchor tag, right, which is for creating those links. href is used as an attribute within the anchor tag, where you can, simply append that link. So someone said you're forgetting us that are on LinkedIn. If you're on LinkedIn and you have questions, please, ask your questions, okay? I believe you can also see my screen. Yeah, I believe you can also see my screen. Okay, and then the next question, please. Can you teach us how to place pictures at the middle and also how to place text in the middle? Yes, we are going to get there, right? We're trying not to rush the whole thing. I am sure you have the curriculum, right? From the question, I think you probably don't have the curriculum, but please, I think you can check, right? So if you check the curriculum, we have the point where we'll talk about styling, right? We're not talking about styling yet, and we're not going to use some attributes that are no longer supported by some browsers. We're simply going to wait till we get to styling. So you would learn how to position things, in the center, on the right. You learn how to float, some of these things around, and you're going to learn a lot, about styling. Okay, so don't rush. Please follow the curriculum. It will take a while to get there, and we are recommending this pattern so that you can practice enough. Okay, so don't put pressure on yourself. But I mean, if you wish to go ahead and learn ahead of yourself, that's fine. I mean, or learn ahead of others. Okay, not really yourself. But yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That is that's fine. That's fine. All right. So back to my browser. Sorry, back to the VS Code environment. I'm simply going to open the africa.html file. So if you look here, you see we actually have a lot of images. Okay, a lot of images. Can you see my screen? Okay. All right. So we have a lot of images here. Right. I'm going to rename some of these images. I think I can just use 1, 2, 3, just like that. Let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Probably stop at 7. And man, I mean, it's a lot. So I'm going to delete the rest. Let's just take them off. Delete. Okay, so we have images. We have 1 to 7. I'm going to create a new folder under the image folder, under the existing image folder. So let's make a new folder. Let's call this Africa. Okay. And I'm going to simply select. What I do is I hold down the shift key, I select the first item, and then I still hold the shift key and I select the last item. So I'm able to highlight all the items. And I can simply move this into the folder called Africa. All right, so back to the africa.html file. This is quite empty. Let's put in the boilerplate shift exclamation or shift 1 to give you, this EMET abbreviation. So if I click on this, it's going to give us the boilerplate. And yeah, I can collapse this for now. Okay, let's just save, Control S, and I'm simply going to change this to Africa web page. Okay, save, Control Shift P, and then I can select Show Live Server Preview. So we can have this on the same page. Okay. All right. So in here, we're going to have the IMG, right? Image tag, SRC, of course, with the ALT, which is the alternative text. I'm going to say we have the first image. We don't know the exact image yet. So let's just say assets, images, Africa 1.jpg. Okay, save. Now, when I save this, you see the image is so large, I literally have to scroll a lot before I can even see the complete, image. So what I'm going to do instead is let us set our width, okay? And I'm going to set a width of, let's say, 100 pixels, which is just 400. When I save, you see we have the full image show up here. I can also choose to drop this down to even 200, right? We're going to put in more images. So I have a second image. Let's save. You see it actually shows up here. Let's have the third image, save. All right, so where does that go? Okay, let's see. We have the third image. It shows up here. All right, that's nice. Let's put in the fourth image. We have 7 images in total, okay? Using the same size for the width, we're able to actually arrange this in such a way that, such a way that makes sense. We're working with width, remember, 200, and it's all the same. We can choose to adjust this. So 300, you see, one image becomes bigger than the other. We can also say 300. Yeah, so of course we don't want that. So let's just leave the whole thing at 200 for now. So we can have that proper grid, okay? So we have 4, 5, and of course we need 2 more images, which is 6 and 7. All right, so let's save. Now you're going to see all the images right here. I think we still have one more or two. Yeah. So you see the images all arranged, right, in a grid-like form. We're using styling for grids just yet. The amazing thing about this image is if we pull this up in our browser, we can simply, choose to increase the size, of the image. As a matter of fact, we can actually choose to have, let's say I have maybe 1,000, right? Probably that's just too big. So let's say 500. Okay, I think this size would probably be 400. Okay, so you see, if we have 400 or maybe 450, I don't know, 420. Just trying to make sure it sticks to, yeah, so 420, that's fine. So we can also have maybe 420 applied here. So now what you see is just, this kind of style. Anyways, that's because of the size of the section where I am presenting this, and of course the images, doing a wonderful job. As you can see, it's just the same tag, the same, basically the same tag with a bunch of repetitions, right? And this is the point where you can now choose in the alternative text. So for example, this is 2 elephants in the frame. Okay, so picture frame. What else? I think it's all elephants basically. So yeah, a single elephant in the photo frame. All right, I'm just going to duplicate this. Yeah, basically this as well. Oh, so this is 2. So just going to say 2 elephants in the photo frame, one big and one small. Okay, so this is just let's just say a single tree in the photo frame. Of course, you can have better descriptions for this. Okay, what else do we have here? So yeah, a single elephant, and then this is, I don't know, is this a chimpanzee? Is this just another monkey? So let's just say a monkey in the photo frame. Okay, so now you see we have, some of this alternative text, right? Maybe what I can do is move that last image just right here. So I can have it sit right here, okay? Just to maintain the layout order. So, that is it. This is just also, reusing the image tag. We'll get to talk about, working with video tags, building HTML forms. We are pretty much moving, faster. And I believe in the next class, we would, of course, explore some of these other things that I mentioned. Okay. So, by tomorrow, 8 p.m., just make sure you're in class on time. And I hope you've taken your attendance already. If you have questions, please drop your questions in the chat and I would respond to those questions. Let me see. Okay, so someone is asking, I'm not always available in class, but I can download the classes. I mean, you have to be available for the live session, but if you're not, that's fine. You can always, revisit those videos on YouTube. Yeah, I mean, it's open, it's public. HTML is getting interesting. Uh, yeah, okay. I mean, everything would become interesting over time. It depends on how you learn and how it's being taught to you. Okay, and of course, if you're interested in actually learning. Um, yeah, I see your VS Code. Okay. Let's see. Which other question do I have here? Can you increase the size? Oh, apologies. I did not see this on time, but I hope you are able to see the text on my screen. Okay. There are other ways to create link, e.g. email. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's quickly talk about that before we end the session. So, that's actually a very good question. So basically, if you want to create like maybe phone number, WhatsApp link and the rest of them, especially phone number or email, we can basically do this. Okay, so I can simply say contact. All right, so let's say H3 here, contact information. Okay, that spelling is wrong. Information. Okay, so we can have like uh, let's say we have two tags here. The first one is for email. The second one is for, so I'm going to simply say phone number. Now, what you're seeing here is a comment, right? This will not be displayed on the browser. This is a comment. Okay. So here would be email. So I can simply use, the option for mail to also come within the href, right? That's same, hyperlink reference. So we have to say mail to, right? Okay. And in here, we can then put, let's say, uh, just me at business.com. Okay, so this would basically allow you mail, to this specific email. When you click on this, it's going to open up on your email app, right? If it's on your phone, you're talking about maybe Gmail or probably the default Apple mail app on your iPhones. If it's on your laptop, it's going to pull up the default mail app on your laptop. Okay, so I can say send email or send mail. Okay, and for this option, yes, we are also going to have this, but this time around it should be TEL, which is telephone, okay? And here we can simply say maybe +4, just a +1. Just going to put a random number, okay? Yeah, let's just have this random number here. So basically, what you're seeing here is this call, right? So when you click on this, and by the way, we can actually pull this up here so we can, visualize what we have. Let us do that. So preview. Okay, so what happens is when you actually click on the second link, it's going to open that in your, let's see, drop this a little bit. It's going to open that up in your, your regular app, the app you use for, making calls, right? So when you click on this, it's going to actually do that. We can also choose to break this into, you know, several lines. Okay, so we can use the P tag here, just drop it at the end. Okay, do the same thing. Come on. All right. So let's save. So now you see we have send mail and call, right? So this would basically, pull this link in your call app, and this would load up this email in your email app, right? Asking you to enter detail of the email while appending this to, the email section of the um, I would say the receiver section or the recipient section of your email app. Okay, I hope that makes sense. All right, it's already 8:59. So if you have any other question, let's see. I tried placing a picture, but it's not displaying on the live server preview. It should. Um, it should. Probably you should check the paths. Okay, so check the path, right? Make sure the path is right. That is probably the issue. Okay. What else? Okay, let's see. Okay. Um, all right. The attendance is not shared yet. Okay, so in case where you want the click link to direct to another to an account, probably Facebook, Twitter, Yeah. So probably Facebook or Twitter, you just have to do the same thing, okay? So if I want to put in like social accounts, let me do that as well. Okay, so I'm going to put in like, social. Yeah, so this is kind of like social information. So let's say Twitter and LinkedIn, for example, social. All right. So if I have like the P and I also put in the A tag in between, href, right? So I can simply say this is my Facebook, right, or Twitter. I think it's currently X. Okay, so can be x.com/Solomon Mabel. I don't know if that's still my Twitter username. Please check if it is. You can follow me on Twitter or follow me on X. All right, so and I can simply say follow me, okay? So if I save this, we're going to say follow me, and of course I can say on X, right? So now we have follow me on X. Let me take off the other one. So I would simply say Twitter. All right, so you see we have follow me on X. I can choose to separate these stuff with just HR tags. So separate, keep separate, keep separate, just like this. Okay, yeah. So I hope that makes sense. Let's see if you have more questions here. Please, where is the attendance? So I can see we have a lot of questions, people asking for the attendance. And please, if you're one of the moderators, please do well to drop the attendance in the chat. Okay. Let's see. Please, where do you generate or get the images? I have them on my laptop, so I simply put them in that folder, right? So you should have images as well, or you can download images from Unsplash or something. Okay. Let's see. So I think the attendance was shared. I don't know if that is clickable, and if we can have a shorter form, please let us have the short form of that attendance. All right. Okay. Thank you. Oh, I think it was shared already. Okay, so that's the shorter form. Please click on that. I don't know if that's clickable, but yeah, you can actually copy it, right? So I think it's currently on the screen. Favor, you can do me a favor. Share that attendance link properly if you can. Thank you. All right, the two links are different. Nope, it's the same link. I think it is. Yeah, because we're streaming to multiple channels, so it actually shows up like 3 times or 2 times, I guess. But that's all. That's all. So yeah, maybe you can spend the next 1 minute, filling the attendance form, and make sure you do that. It's actually, necessary. So yeah, and if you're not on Discord, do well to join the Discord server, right? topuniverse.org/Discord. If you have questions for me, drop the questions on Discord. You can just tag me on Discord at Magic, or you can tag Favorite, you can tag Zedek, you can tag Cassie, and I'm sure they would attend to you. Okay. So have fun, have a wonderful night, and I'll see you next time.